I always used to go on stage and people used to make fun of me. And I always used to ask this question, why people are not listening to me? And one day, I decided that I am gonna search the psyche behind public speaking. And that day, I searched on internet, I watched my own videos, and then I concluded 16 points which I had to work upon. Hi, my name is Giri Sharma, and in this video I'm gonna share all those 16 points which made my public speaking super duper hit. And I'm damn sure that this series of the 16 points gonna help you also. So make sure to watch this video till last, because this video will change your life for sure. If you are a public speaker, or if you get an opportunity maybe to share in your office, in your college, in your school, or anywhere you have to speak in front of the public, then these 16 points will help you. So let's start. The very first point is known as the rule of 7 seconds. What are these 7 seconds? These 7 seconds are your initial 7 seconds when you go on stage. I did a lot of research. I read the books of Dale Carnegie and other great public speakers. And by reading all those books, I realized that people who are listening to you, in your audience, have their psychological decision. And that psychological decision is just in first 7 seconds. In first 7 seconds, they decide that should they listen to you or not. So make sure when you go on stage, in your first 7 seconds, you have to give your best speech. You have to keep on thinking that how can in these first 7 seconds I say something which can attract them and which can make them to listen to me. So your first 7 seconds can make and break your speech on stage. Coming to the second point of public speaking, this is known as the come to the main object fast. A lot of people, when they go on stage, they talk here and there, beat around the bush, we call it. But people do not have much patience. So you have to understand this point, that whenever you are going on stage, you have to come to your main subject within first 1 minute. Definitely, you are gonna make some suspense related to your topic, or you want people to sit back and relax before you start your main speech. But all these things you have to do within 1 minute only, because people who have started listening to you, they will get bored in first 1 minute if you do not come to your main subject. So make sure whatever you are going to talk your main point within 1 minute. You have to start it. Coming to the point number 3, one big idea. What is this? Whenever you are going on stage, ask yourself that what is my one big agenda? What is my one big idea? Is it to make them feel happy? Is it to give them a good time? Is it to make them purchase my product? Is it to change their life? Is it to motivate them? Is it to inspire them? Is it to make them confident? Is it to make them like me? So you have to ask yourself that what is your main big agenda, main big idea, and then you have to work on that particular main big idea. Your complete speech should have one big idea. For example, this complete video has one big idea, that is to improve your public speaking. Coming to the point number 3, keep the momentum. There is a beat which we all follow, So it should not be that you started with a huge energy, you started with something very good punchline, and then you have become dull. Whatever best points you have in your speech, so you have to distribute it equally with the equal time duration. For example, in each and every 1 and 2 minutes, you should have some sort of joke, some sort of humor, some sort of emotional bonding, or something which is good, like maybe you can have your some personal experience which you can share here and there, which I'm going to talk about the other points as well. So you have to keep the momentum high. You cannot make your momentum low at some points. Definitely, if you're talking about some emotional points, that is a different thing altogether. But otherwise, your speech momentum has to be good, with a good pace. You should keep on speaking with a good pace, and we call it a good rhythm as well. Coming to the point number 5, tell a story. Trust me, in all over the world, nothing can fascinate your audience more than telling your real life story. Just look back from your childhood till now. Related to your subject, you will always find some story. Some stories of your life will always inspire your audience. It will always motivate your audience. And when you tell a story, this is a human psychology. People would listen that story from starting till the end because they wanted to know what is going to happen next. So just look back, and I would prefer not to tell the story from any book or any comics or any fiction novel. Always tell a story from your personal life, from your life. You know what, when I was 8-year-old, I started this video by saying that 3 years I kept on struggling with my communication. So people, when they listen any story, they get connected with that story. This is a human emotion. So make sure you tell a story in your public speaking speech. Point number 6 I would like to share with you is flexible voice and tone. It like a musical instrument. This is very important. You should never be monotonous with your tone of speaking, or you should never be monotonous with your tone of speaking. And you should never be always high with your tone of speaking. You should always speak like a musical instrument. You should always have this flexibility in your voice, going up and going down, because this flexibility will give a more charm in your voice, and also it will attract the audience to listen to you again and again. Point number 7 is the 5 key sound element. You have to take care of all these 5 key sound elements. This is known as the pitch, pace, tone, melody, and volume. Okay, so your pitch, pace, melody, tone, and the volume. You should not always be very loud, and you should not be very slow as well. You should not go very fast, and you should not be very slow as well. Your tone should not be very irritating, and at the same time it should not sound childish as well. Try to be as natural as possible in your pitch, pace, tone, melody, and volume. For this particular subject, I would like to make another video, because the subject is a different big subject altogether. Coming to the next point number 8 is articulate. Open your mouth to full. Sometimes people talk like this, like whatever movements they are doing from their mouth, they don't understand. Speak with full mouth movements. Like if you are saying something, then your mouth movement should be seen to the people sitting at the last seat, at the last corner. See, you have to understand it. When you are speaking in front of the stage, when you are speaking in front of the audience, then there is a difference. Then there is a distance from audience and the subject where you are talking. So if you are talking without the articulation in your mouth, like slowly your mouth is not moving, then they won't get connected with your speech. So whenever you are talking, try to make your all mouth movements, but do not make it too much as well. But when you speak with your all articulation from your mouth, it makes people, the lady sitting at the right corner and the guy in the red t-shirt sitting at the left corner would also like to listen to you, because they can see your mouth movements. And this particular exercise is also done generally in our theater as well. And I always say that the theater and the public speaking are somewhat correlated with each other. Moving on to the next point. This point is known as the level of energy. Friends, if you would see my few videos, of public speaking. 3 years back, I used to just go on stage and say my speech and come back. But I came to know about this almost 3 years back, that no, there is something which is known as the energy. When you go on stage, you should be fully energetic. You should have the energy in each and every blood cell of your body, because when you have the energy in each and every blood cell of your body, that can create a magic, and that can magically connect the whole audience with you. Because there is a theory which is known as the catharsis. For example, if I am feeling something which is contagious as well, like if I am feeling something, then my audience will also feel the same thing. If I'm feeling happy, my audience will feel happy. If I'm feeling inspired, then my audience will also feel inspired. So make sure you should always be fully energetic when you go on stage. But at the same time, make sure when you are telling some emotional point, then you should also feel that emotion. It will make your speech more impactful. Energy and emotions. This is the 9th point. 10th point, which I would like to tell you about the public speaking mastery, is the power of pause. You know what? When after I said the power, you all started looking at me with more and more attention. Why? Because pause is very, very important in public speaking, public conversation. When I started doing my public speaking as an MC and as a host, I used to go on stage and I was always scared that if I would stop speaking, then they would all go here and there. And that is the reason that I used to speak so fast on stage, and I used to keep on saying on stage. But I never realized this, that to get the more attraction of the audience, it is important to take the right pauses, to take the good amount of pauses, and to speak with right pauses. Pause is more important than speaking. Pause is like a music. It is like a silence, and it creates a sort of magic, I would say, that suddenly when you will take the right pauses, you would find that people in audience who were talking with each other, who were not interested in having a conversation with you or looking at you, they would start suddenly looking at you and they would listen to you. So make sure to take the right pauses. The point number 11 to master your public speaking would be the eye contact. There is nothing like the magic. The biggest magic is looking into the eyes. You know what? People who are having a lot of pets in their house, they know it. When you look at your dog eyes, your dog look at you, and then they get some sort of bonding and some sort of connection. So when you look into the eyes of the audience, then you make a sort of bonding. You make a sort of connection with them. This is a psychological connection which you make with them. Even if you are talking to 1,000 people, they all will feel that you are talking to that one person. So make sure whenever you are going on stage, you are making the eye contact with each and everyone in the audience. Once you make the eye contact with them, they start liking you, they start listening to you, and they start making a personal bond with you. This is a psychological bond which they make with you, and I assure you, with the eye contact, they are gonna listen to you till your last word. Moving on, the next point, which is the point number 12 for the public speaking, would be ask 3 questions at starting. See what questions do. What questions do? What questions do? Questions create curiosity. When people are involved with each other and they are not looking at you, but once you ask the question, make sure their answer has to be yes. Alright, so the first question could be, how many of you are from India. How many of you love your country? How many of you are enjoying this evening? How many of you wanted to be a successful person in your life? How many of you want to be a great public speaker? You know what? So you have to ask at least 3 questions, and only 3 questions, because if you ask the more questions, more than 3 or 4 or the 5 questions, then you are also misguiding yourself from the main agenda of your conversation, of your subject. So make sure you ask 2 to 3 questions which generally has the right answer in years. When you ask the question, it creates a curiosity. It makes them to listen to you, because their mind is habitual. If their mind is habitual, like for example, in a pet, if we throw a ball, that pet is habitual of getting that ball. Same way, if you throw a question, human mind is habitual of answering that question or finding the answer of that question. So this is the psyche which works for the public speaking. So in your first minute only, I would recommend you to ask at least 2 to 3 questions. Moving to the point number 13, tell your shortcomings. When you tell your defaults, when you tell your shortcomings, when you tell your weaknesses, people find you relatable. They feel you like you are just like them. Tell that how you used to fumble on stage, or maybe how you used to hesitate and how you were depressed in your life, or maybe you can tell your shortcomings, that how you are always lazy, how you sleep till 10 o'clock in the morning. People find you relatable when you tell your shortcomings, when you tell your weaknesses to the audience, because they feel that, oh my God, the guy on stage is also like us. He is just the next door boy. In India and Bollywood, Salman Khan is the biggest example of relatable theory. He does each and everything which a next door guy does. So that is the reason people find connected to him and people feel so relatable to him. Kapil Sharma, an Indian comedian, is also one of the biggest example of relatable content, relatable weaknesses, relatable shortcomings. So make sure whenever you are having a conversation with the crowd, you tell your shortcomings to the audience. Coming to the point number 15 is stick to your time. This is the most important thing. If you are given a time of the 15 minutes, make sure that you finish your speech in 14 minutes only. The audience should always have hunger for you to listen more and more. For example, if you like some sweet, maybe some, if you like some good vegetable, some sweet, but instead of 1 spoon, if I give you the 10 spoon, you won't like that sweet anymore. Same way, when you are having a public conversation, when you are speaking in front of a good gathering, large gathering, and you are given a time of 15 minutes, you have to finish your speech at least 1, 2, or 3 minutes before your given time only, because it will maintain the curiosity between the audience, and also people will love you, like you, and they would always love to listen to you again and again. The point number 16 is end the speech on a high note, which is known as the call to action. Once you end your speech, like the first 7 seconds are important, the same way the last 1 minute is equally important. Your last 1 minute should inspire the crowd to take some action, to change something in their life, to change something in their habit, to change something in their thought process, in their thinking. When you started your speech and when you finished your speech, they should be the different person when you finish your speech. Your speech should motivate them to be a different person. If you can make them to do something different in last 1 minute, it means you have become a good public speaker. Friends, 3 years have been really struggling days of my life. I cried a lot. And I always asked myself that why people are not listening to me. But after those 3 years, when I did all these research and when I implemented these 16 points, these points might sound very simple to you, but when you will practice them one by one in your public speaking, in your public conversation, you will find a magic. I hope this video will help you. Thank you for liking this video. If you like this video, make sure to like this channel. Make sure to subscribe this channel because I'm gonna make more videos on each and every point very soon in this channel. With this is your friend Giri Sharma signing off. Goodbye, take care. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.